Hi, Stampin' friends. This is Amanda. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Michigan. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate you spending time with me today. I want to thank all of those who are subscribed. I finally reached my 1,000 subscriber marks, and I really appreciate it. I'm going to be playing with the stitched triangle dies and the Whimsy and Wonder DSP, which is so gorgeous. I love the alternative Christmas colors. They're beautiful. And I'm just going through and choosing the DSP that I want to use, which is pretty much all of them. I love this set. I think it's great. There's a few of them that I chose not to use only because of the patterns. I thought they were going to be too big for what I'm doing. I had a vision in mind. It didn't turn out so well, but that's okay. Let me know what you think. So I'm just cutting them out in different size triangles. No big deal. Easy peasy. Anyone can do that. And it's so great because you can use your mini embossing machine to cut these out. I do not have very much Misty Moonlight, unfortunately. I'm down to 1/2 sheet, not even a full sheet. So I have this little itty bitty piece up here on the right, and I'm going to try to use that sparingly. Let's just call it that. I take my big ones out here, and this is a 5x7 piece of watercolor sheet. I just happen to have it so that I can kind of lay it out in my mind. I'm going to spare you the hours upon hours of time that I spent laying this out because it just wasn't right. And I know the reason, and that's because there's too many trees. I really needed to scale it down, but I just loved all these different colors and how they work together that, I couldn't. I couldn't decide. If I was smart, I would have done 2 different cards, and then, I would have had less trees and it would have looked better. I'm also going to be using the Heartfelt Wishes stamp set. Now, I want to let you know that a few things that I'm using today are going to be retiring, including the Heartfelt Wishes stamp set. And the Whimsy and Wonder DSP. So if you want those, you need to grab them soon because, they are while supplies last. I'm going to take a piece of Whisper White or Basic White, good heavens, Basic White, and cut it down to about 3 inches by 4 7/8. My card overall today my panel is going to be 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. So I'm going to have a 1/8 inch panel, all, 1/8 inch border all the way around my card. Very small today, but I wanted to get as much trees in here as possible. I wanted to make a scene and I wanted to do some snowflakes behind. And so my go-to was Pool Party. So I took a piece of Pool Party out and, I wasn't feeling it because the mint macaroon is so close that I just thought I needed to mint macaroon, and it looks pretty good as a background. So I'm going to grab my mint macaroon out here and use that as my card base. I'm going to cut that to, again, 4 7/8 by 6 7/8, but I have a problem. So let me tell you, I'm back from Phoenix, and I'm loving being in my craft room. I am a little bit discouraged about the fact that lots of things that I have still to show you are going to be retiring. So I have about 87 cards in mind, and I hope to get through them before Christmas. And, while supplies last, I guess I should say that. So I'm taking this inspired thoughts, and that's what I'm going to cut the hill from. So watch out from there. I'm also going to take some Snowflake Dies, which are also retiring, and I'm going to just lay them out thinking that I might actually use these. I end up not because I just think they're too big, but in the long run, I use something that's big anyways, and that is the Snowflake embossing folder, which is just a half embossing folder. So it's about 3.5 inches wide. This is, of course, a 5.5 inch or a 5-inch wide, but it's 7 inches long, right? So So I have some thinking to do here. Now, it's definitely not going to fit through my Big Shot. And I could run it through my Big Shot Pro, which would definitely allow this to go through because it fits a 12 by 12 piece of paper. But I thought, oh, I really want to be able to have you guys make this card. You could turn it the other way and push it through, and then you would be damaging the hinge of the embossing folder. So I thought, oh, I'll just cut it. You know what I mean? I'll just cut my piece of paper. I'm going to be adding the snowy hill anyways, so I'll cut it. As I do cut it, you're going to see a line here, which makes me unhappy. Now I'm just going to cut about 2 inches because I'm going to have that hill eventually. So we'll cover it, no big deal. I put it on the top, and when I run it through my Big Shot, I'm going to have a crease where it ends. Now, if you were to run this embossing folder from the top down and not go all the way to the end of the embossing folder, you wouldn't have a crease, but the hinge is the problem, right? So if we were to go from the top down and have the hinge on the left-hand side and run it through, it would just ruin it. Now, I have done this before, and it really does wreck the hinge. So what are you going to do, right? I mean, you're either going to have this line here, this, you know what I mean? That line right there, you can see it. It's a mark because that's where the embossing folder ended, or you're going to ruin your embossing folder. So I thought, well, maybe this could be like snow that's reflecting the sky, and this is the horizon. I'm convincing myself of that, even though if it was snow, it would be white. You know what I mean? And then maybe a tinge of mint macaroon, just, maybe sponged on or blender brushed on. But I kind of cover it up to enough that I don't think it draws your eyes. I do try to use a bone folder and kind of like, rub it out. It doesn't work. No big deal. Like I said, horizon is what's in my mind, even though it really isn't a horizon because then the snow wouldn't be the same color as the sky. But no big deal. We'll just work with it, and hopefully it won't be a big noticeable issue. I cut a panel of basic white so that I could actually know what size I need to cut, because I did cut my mint macaroon down. So here I am playing for like the 15th time on how I'm going to lay out my trees. I mean, these are trees, and they're stitched trees. They're cute as can be. And I really like the layout-ish. I mean, it's a little overbearing. I know it has too much in it, but it is what it is. So this is where I take the Inspired Thoughts dies and I run it through my mini embossing machine. So this is under 3.5 inches, but I just cut it so I can kind of see where I'm going with this. This is all in pre-planning stages because I haven't actually adhered anything down. You know what I mean? I figured that I'd put my sentiment here so I wouldn't have to do anything else with it. And that's where I bring in the Heartfelt Wishes stamp set. I just want to make sure that that's the correct name. Heartfelt Wishes stamp set. It's on page 57 of the mini catalog. Again, this catalog is retiring, and lots of things in this catalog are retiring. But I'm going to take this Merry Christmas that has little tails on it. I've used this in my last card. I really like it. There's lots of other things that you can do. And I've used this really because it was on my desk. But there are a million different sentiments that we have in our catalog that you can use. Merry Christmas, a season's greetings, I think like a holly jolly or that kind of thing is just, this is a little bit more elegant. Not too elegant, but a little bit more elegant than a funsy card. So I would be careful of what sentiment you use. But here I'm stamping this out in polished pink. Oh no, I was going to say something different. Polished pink. And I didn't stamp it correctly, or I don't think I stamped it correctly, because now that I'm looking at it, it's pretty darn straight. But when I looked at it, I thought it was a little cockeyed. So it doesn't matter. I'm just going to use it right now to lay out my layout, to set out my layout. Again, easy peasy, emboss on top, lay it on a little hill on the bottom. Really like it. And then comes the playing. And I'm annoyed with myself about how long this took, because I really struggled with finding the perfect layout. You know what I mean? I didn't want to do 3 and then 3. I wanted to do an odd number. And I didn't have any other DSP that I thought would work. You know what I mean? I thought the other sides of the DSP, I just didn't think I had enough trees. So I went with polished pink and then this little bit of Misty Moonlight. And you should, like, I'm going to cut it off and it's not even going to be the right size. But I knew no one was going to see the bottom. But I really did not want to cut into my half sheet of Misty Moonlight that's left. So finally, I'm like, okay, we've got to just put this down and actually adhere it, because I'm driving myself crazy. So I find, hopefully, the Stamp and Seal Plus, and I just add a teeny tiny bit, because I know I'm going to rip it up again, and you're going to see me go through this a lot more. I'm really sorry, but I couldn't get it right. And like I said, there was just too many, and maybe they're too large. You know what I mean? Maybe I should have went with the one down, because I went with the top, the biggest ones, the 2 largest ones, and maybe I should have went with the 2 middle ones. I mean, you know what I mean? I like it. I love the colors of this. I love the DSP. I think it's fun and, enchanting almost. But yeah. Now, as you can see, I go outside of my 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. So I'm going to need to do some trimming after I complete my layout. And really, I cut this down a lot, guys. I was playing with this for probably an hour, and I didn't think you wanted to see that. I know that some of you like the real time, but I don't make cards in advance and then remake cards for you. I like to do things, I like to start with a blank slate and just do a card. I mean, that's how I make cards. I don't know. Sometimes I case them, and that's okay. But I mean, this one just was, it was just fresh and new. And so I didn't have one to begin with to copy. You know what I mean? So I couldn't just have these all placed out and know exactly where they were for you and do a live-ish or a real-time video. But I thought that I would do a live video in the new year, maybe once a week. Let me know what you guys think about that. And because I reached my 1,000 subscriber mark, thanks to you, and I really want to thank you for that, I am able to go live really easily. So that's great. I can use YouTube's software, and I don't have to learn a new software for that. So that's great, and I really appreciate it. You know me, I'll probably end up learning a new software for it anyway, so I can do some fun creative things on the sides and on the borders and everything like that. So it is what it is. But I am really excited about my 1,000 subscriber marks, and that's all because of you. Yes, I'm still talking, and yes, I am still playing with this layout. But I finally put enough Stamp and Seal on that I have to actually put it down and leave it right here. All right, now push it down, Amanda, and be done. Do you like the little trees? Do you like the different patterns? Do you think this is not for you? What do you think about using the Heartfelt Wishes DSP, which is also retiring? Now I'm going to take it to my guillotine and trim it off. And, I have to remember, I have to go all the way over and trim it off to the 4 7/8. But I didn't actually use the marking, the measurements. I just, used the paper. So that's just me. But I'm out of glue too. Whoops. I don't know if I have any more, but I'm going to be struggling with some glue here. But as I was saying, the Heartfelt Wishes is just red and green. So if you're more a traditionalist, but you like this layout, think about the Heartfelt Wishes DSP. That might be right up your alley. And then you can just do a white snowy background and it will look great. And again, then you can have the horizon line, no big deal. All right, now there's something missing from this card, and I don't know, I thought maybe I should pop things up after I adhered everything down. I'm like, maybe I should have used some dimensionals, but I just couldn't rip it up at this point. So I decided to up my game here and stamp the Merry Christmas and emboss it. So again, I'm going to do this in polished pink. And this is so funny. I never put my labels on my dies. I don't. I mean, it's a step. I know that oh goodness. Oh, sorry guys, it's late and I've been trying to do this voiceover for several times now, but I don't ever put my my labels on, and then this happens. I stamp it upside down. No, it's okay. I stamp it far enough away from the bottom or the top or whatever you want to call it to still do the hillside. But this is not exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to have it really close to the edge on the bottom and then have a nice, hill at the top. And then maybe even do some mint macaroon blending at the top. Well, that didn't work out because I stamped this backwards. So note to self, put on your stinking labels and life would be so much easier. So you know how I do this. If I was smart, I'd use my anti-static powder bag, but I don't. But I stamp it in petal pink, rinse off my stamp with I use baby wipes. That's the truth. It's easier for me than I don't have access to a sink downstairs. Well, not close one. And so I always just use baby wipes. And then I use my Versamark ink and restamp it in the same position with my Stamparatus. And that's the great thing about my Stamparatus. And then dunk it in my clear embossing powder. And then I heat set it with my heat gun. Now, I'm going to tell you this one more time. Do not flick. Dance your fingers, use a dry paintbrush, but please don't flick. I had such a nice, thick, bubbly embossing on this. It was great because I remembered to dance and not to flick. And I think it turned out okay. What do you think? Now, I do cut this down to 1.5. I'm going to cut this down several times. You'll see. Because I cannot leave this card alone. Here, it looks great. It looks fine. But I'm like, no, it needs to be smaller. So if you guys are a control freak like me, let me know in the comment section below. And if you're not subscribed, I'd love it if you did that as well. Now that I'm over my 1,000, I'm going to have to make a new goal. I don't know what that is yet. I'm just so stunned and excited that I got to this goal finally because of your help. And I really appreciate it that I'm just basking in the satisfaction of that. I woke up today to 1,001. So that was exciting. Now, I didn't cut the side very well because as you can see, I can still see some of the tree outside of the edge. That's going to bug me. I tried to use my what is that called? My bone folder, but it's my acrylic. That's not what it is. A Teflon bone folder. Sorry. Complete and utter mind freeze. And that didn't work either. So I needed to cut that off. No big deal. But here's the top. Here's the panel of my card. Finally, after 19 minutes, I finally got my panel done. And now I'm going to make my card base. I'll tell you one more time how I make my card base. I know some of you might be new to 5x7 cards, and those of you that are old, I'm sure you can recite this by now. I don't open my arm, but I cut 1.5 inches off of the short side, and then 1 inch off the long side, and then I score it at 5 inches. And that is my 5x7 card. I have a tendency to push really hard when I'm cutting. I don't know why that is. On my trimmer, it just is. So I normally have like a little marks up, little bendy roos on my edges. And I use my Teflon bone folder to straighten those out. I like the white background enough, but I think that I could go a little bit bolder. Now, I wish that I could go um, Misty Moonlight, but that's not an option. So I tried the petal pink and I really like that. What do you think? Next, I'm going to use my Wink Estella and I'm going to Wink Estella my Misty Moonlight tree in the front. And I'm going to outline all of my snowflakes. And then that wasn't enough sparkle. So I got my basic rhinestones out and put a little shine in the middle of each little snowflake, except for the middle one. This one right here, it's only a half of one, so I have to take it off. But I put one in each little snowflake that is a whole snowflake, and or the middle that I can see, I guess. And that is my card, but I'm not quite done because something is missing still. The inside. I don't do the inside for you guys. I'm sure there's a million things you can do, but I think that I need a little bit more shine. I know. Too much shine is, it's too much. This card is just a little too much of everything, but I chose to do the polished pink tree as well. So let me know what you think. Let me know how many extra trees you think I have on this one, or do you think it would be okay? Let me know if you will try this one in a Heartwarming Hugs DSP and post it for me. I'd love to see what it looks like. I just don't have time to do it because I am on a very tight schedule. I have 1,000,001 Christmas cards that I'd love to show you. And I can't wait because, Christmas is almost here and I'm behind the 8 ball because I went to Phoenix. But oh well, it is what it is. Hopefully I'll get them to you by Christmas. You guys have a very lovely day and I'll talk to you soon.